Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, I wanted to hop on here tonight and tell you guys the stories of two individual times one of my friends got drugged at the bar, and neither of them was a girl, right? And I was the primary source of like assistance, we'll say, because some crazy shit went down both times. Now, apparently, it's very common for guys to slip other guys' shit at the bar because it's funny, you're gonna fuck up their night. They might get really high. I don't know, right? Apparently, this is just like not talked about because I did not realize this was a common thing until like within a year and a half, two of my friends had it happen to them. So the first time it happened to a guy I was really good friends with. He lived in residence with me. He was in the same program as me. We had the same schedule. So we drank together, smoked weed together. We hung out all the time, right? When we did get messed up, I mean, this guy was kind of like me. He always had his wits about him. He was never the guy to get out of hand or get lost. So the reason I'm telling you this is because I want to set the precedence that I know what this guy is like under the influence, especially when he's even blacked out. I mean, I had seen it a cajillion times. I know what he was like, right? So the incident I'm about to tell you is abnormal. So me and him were going out with a very large group of people to a bar. Now this guy would not dance. I don't think I had never seen him on the dance floor ever. He was super like awkward and shy kind of. If you didn't know him, he wasn't going to talk to you. He wasn't going to make friends at the bar. He was just going to kind of stick by somebody he already knew's side. So he wasn't the most outgoing person, right? We get to this bar and everybody's kind of doing their own thing, but I find myself at the actual bar buying a few drinks with the guy the story's about, whose nickname, by the way, was Chunk. I lived with this guy for years and I don't think I ever said his real name. So I'm at the bar with Chunk and another guy we hang out with. I don't hang out too long. I have like one beer and then I dip because we came with a girl I was seeing at the time and she was out dancing. So I go join her. Now, I come in from a smoke at one point, and mind you, we're there max an hour. This guy has probably had like a couple of drinks, maybe a handful, right? And he's on the dance floor when I come in from outside with his shirt off, like unbuttoned all the way down. It's still on, sorry, but it's just like wide open. He had a button up, right? Dancing with some random girl, like easily the most animated person out there. Now, when I say this is out of character, I mean completely. Like all our jaws dropped. We couldn't believe what we were seeing. We were like, "What the fuck?" And I was kind of like cheering him on, but a bunch of the bouncers were yelling at him, being like, "Put your clothes on, put your clothes on," right? And I was like, "Oh my god, what is Chunk doing?" I couldn't believe it. So eventually, I catch him at the bar, and now I'm kind of realizing, like, holy shit, this guy's really messed up. I mean, like, maybe possibly have to leave messed up, you know? I mean, I can't keep him contained. People are getting annoyed. He's slamming into people. He's spilling his drink. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whatever. Maybe he ate like nothing all day. I didn't know, right? He becomes a noticeable problem in the bar, by the way. Like the staff is starting to realize that this guy's a bit out of control and they cut him off from the bar. So I'm like, forget it. Let's just go. I go outside. I wave down a taxi. I get him in the back seat, which was a mission. He like passes out, or I assume he passes out. He's dead quiet in the back seat the entire way home. I'm in the front seat just talking to the driver. Now, we're eventually pulling into the road that our residence was on, and we're just about to park in front of the building, and I'm kind of getting ready to turn around, wake my buddy up. And before I can do this, the driver starts talking to me, so we sit there for like maybe a minute, and right behind me, all I hear is like, ugh. And I was just like I thought it was him waking up. I didn't even have time to react. He just fully pukes everywhere. Projectile vomited all over us. Chunk had chunked, essentially. So it covers the back of the seat. I mean, destroys it, gets all down the back of my head and neck and all over my coat. It was fucking disgusting. It gets all over the console and on the driver's like arm and shit. The driver starts freaking out. I mean, screaming, and I'm like, "Holy fuck." I was like, "Chunk, like what's going on, buddy?" You know what I mean? Like I couldn't believe what was happening. He is like somewhat there enough to be like realizing what had happened was bad, and he was like just being like, "I'll pay for it, I'll pay for it," but was also like trying to get out of the taxi. Well, the driver starts yelling at me and diverting all his anger towards me because my buddy's too fucked up to even react or like have a sensible conversation, right? And the driver's yelling at me saying I have to pay for this, right? It's a huge ordeal, and he can like basically set the meter at whatever he wants. Like I have no power there, and he's threatening us with calling the cops if we don't pay, and he runs the meter up to $500. I was like, dude. And then I'm yelling at him. My buddy's like super destroyed, trying to get out of the taxi and like start making his way to the residence. And I was like, I have to help him. He's probably going to faceplant in the middle of the road. So it was just like a chaotic, horrible situation. But my friend kind of somehow magically got his wits about him enough to turn around and like walk over to the driver's side door. The driver made him pay. I felt super bad, but I didn't know what to do in this situation. And I was like, I guess it is what it is. The guy ended up paying this fucking taxi driver $500 for puking in his car. It was horrid. Well, finally, we leave the taxi, and I have him linked arms with me. I'm basically assisting him all the way up to his room. He could barely walk. I'm planning on going inside, sitting in the kitchen while he kind of like sorts himself out so we could debrief and I could figure out like what was going on. But once we get to his room, he just slides his key, unlocks his door, goes inside, turns around, and slams the door in my face. And I was like, what the fuck? Yo, bro. And I'm like banging on the door, right? Well, inside his residence room, all I hear is just a super loud bang. I go back to my room and have a shower because I'm covered in puke. It's disgusting, right? But the entire time I'm showering, I'm like concerned and I can't stop thinking about the fact that it's a possibility that this guy could throw up in his sleep. I can't stress to you enough how everything about this evening was so out of character. And I was like, man, the second he went in that room, I just heard a massive bang. I was like, what if he smoked his head? I have no idea, right? I was genuinely concerned about his well being. So I went downstairs after I showered, got the RAs to let me into his room. I explained the situation and they were nice about it. They were like, yeah, let's go check on him. So we go into his room. We see that he didn't even make it to his bed. He just collapsed on the ground next to his bed and was like face down. So me and the RAs like pick him up, throw him on the bed, make sure he's on his side. Everything was all good. But unfortunately, the RAs did spot weed and his bong sitting on his desk and they took it. Rip. Sorry, bro. But yeah, eventually his roommate was going to be coming back from the bar because he was out with us in that big group of people. And I was like, yo, before you go to sleep, just check on your boy, make sure he's good. And that was it. I went back to my room and went to sleep. The next day, I had to explain everything to him. He had no recollection. I had to be like, sorry, bro, the RAs took all your weed, all that shit, right? And also, I broke the news to him being like, you might want to check your bank account because you paid a $500 taxi. Ooh, I'm sorry. And he was like, what the fuck? He was like freaking out, right? Well, one of the guys we were out with that night, remember I said I was at the bar with him and Chunk before I went off to dance? Well, that guy explained to me the next day that some other guy had come by that they did not know and bought them beers. They thought nothing of it, and I assume, I mean, we all came to the conclusion that that guy who bought them beers probably spiked Chunk's drink. I mean, that's the only logical explanation. He has no idea how he could get so out of hand. He didn't even have that many drinks, so I'm pretty sure that guy slipped something in his beer to fuck with him. Now, the next time this happened, I went downtown to a completely different bar with a whole different friend group, right? I was standing at the bar with my other friend, and we were getting drinks. We were chatting up these random guys we met at the bar. I was kind of in and out of the conversation, but my buddy was fully talking to them. We stood there for like 10 minutes. I got bored. I was like, all right, I'm going to go find our other friends, right? I dipped. Little did I know that was the last time I was going to see him for hours. I mean, it was probably like 10 o'clock max at this point, and I was expecting him to come back and find us maybe 20 minutes after I left him with those randoms, right? Well, hours went by. I mean, it was probably an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes before I started being like, yo, where the fuck is he? You know, and I was like questioning it. I was walking around the bar looking for him. I was looking outside to see if he was having smokes. You know, I was looking for those random guys. I was like, what the fuck? Where did he go? And I was like texting him, hitting him up, right? No response. More time goes by. A lot of time goes by to the point now where everybody I came with is like, where is he? We're actually genuinely concerned. We have no idea what happened. It's unlike him not to be responding to us like on his phone while we're out with him. That's really weird, out of character. Now, it gets so late because we just stayed in that bar drinking. We're like, all right, well, he's either going to come back to us here, right? Like a lost cat. He's going to come back home eventually, or maybe he left. I don't know. Maybe we'll go home at the end of the night and he'll be at home. But it gets all the way to the point where the bar is closing. And we're like, holy fuck, where is he? Like, genuine concern now, right? And I stay downtown because I'm like running around looking for him. I'm like, bro, did he like pass out in an alleyway? Where the fuck is this guy? A few of my friends went home to like see if he was there. So they dipped and they texted me when they got there that he was not. So I was like, okay, what the fuck? It was pushing like 4 a.m. and I was running around the city, like just trying to make sense of like where would he have gone? What were any clues? Like I know it sounds like I'm overreacting and I should have just let like this grown man do his own thing, but I'm telling you, everything in me was telling me something was wrong. So eventually I find this guy, no lie, so far away from the bar district. He was standing at a bus stop, but he was like trying to run down the sidewalk and then like run on the wall, just like fucking around, landing in a snowbank. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm pretty pissed. And I was also concerned and just like also mind boggled with what he was doing. I just couldn't believe it, right? So then I see him, and immediately within 2 seconds of talking to him, I realize, oh, he's not in his right mind at all. Like, what? He took something. I knew immediately that this wasn't even booze. I was like, oh, this guy's on something. Once I was like, where were you? Where did you go? Like, what did you do all night? Like, he didn't even remember. He couldn't tell me. He said he was at this bus stop because he was waiting for the bus, but like, there was no buses coming. He didn't even check a schedule. It was not the right bus route at all. There was no buses that went home. I have no idea where this guy was expecting on going from here, but again, he was not in the right mind, right? I get him home. There's still a few of the boys up because, like I said, they were concerned as well, too. So I get him home finally, and we're talking to this guy. We stayed up till like the sun came up. He was still a bit out of it, but he was also realizing like he didn't know where he went. He didn't remember the bars. He didn't remember leaving us. None of it, right? So he was like, what did I do? What the hell? So we came to the conclusion that those random guys at the bar slipped him something when he was talking to them, and he just went out with them for a while to other bars and then eventually for some reason dipped. And then eventually I found him. Also, when I got him home, I've never seen a human chug more water. We were actually like, dude, chill. That's too much water. I mean, like 12 cups. It was like crazy. I was like, bro, yo, relax. We also discovered that all the cash in his wallet was gone. His phone was gone. He was missing everything. I don't know if he spent that cash and lost his phone or if those random people stole this stuff from him. I'm not sure, but it was gone. We finally all go to bed, and then the next day we wake up at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and Buddy doesn't have any recollection of coming home and having that conversation with us until the sun came up. I mean, he didn't remember anything. I had to explain everything again, but at first I did fuck with him. I told him I found him in an alleyway kissing a homeless dude. And I mean, like, I really went into the bit. I was being really serious about it. And like my other boy just kind of joined in and was like, dude, we swear. He had a little mental freak out. Maybe that was a dickhead thing to do, but hilarious nonetheless. So yeah, we did that. Eventually I broke down the whole story, and he's convinced now that like those randoms that I left him with probably slipped him something. Apparently this is a very common thing. I've told people this in passing since it all happened, and a lot of people have like told me their own stories where one of their boys got fucked up or given something, right? So I don't know. I guess way more common than anybody thinks or realizes, right? Anyways, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Peace.